We're going to look at strategies for managing anxiety. It's important to understand and manage anxiety because when the brain is anxious and offline and in the amygdala, it isn't capable of rational thought. To manage anxiety responses, we want to consider how to get the brain back online into the prefrontal cortex as soon as possible, and then how to reduce it going offline in the first place. So the two aspects here for how to get the brain back online is identifying triggers and the use of breath work. So triggers are the situations that happen that put the dyslexic's brain offline in the first place. Once they are aware of these, they can then be managed. So the awareness and identification is the first step. Behaviour indicators that could give you clues that the brain has gone offline is the dyslexic might be avoiding doing certain tasks or work situations. The dyslexic might be worried about it could be any type of masking behaviour that covers a dyslexic struggle. So let's look at this in more detail. On the right side of the screen here is a very common process used to describe how people react and feel in situations. It goes, there's something happens, you think about it, that generates a feeling, and then there is a behaviour and body reaction. So in this example here, this dyslexic is struggling to follow the verbal instructions given to them at work. They might think, oh, I'm not good enough, I can't get this. They may feel anxious and worthless. Their behaviour, which comes in with the masking, is they may pretend to understand. But in doing that, their body, their face goes red, or they may get butterflies in their tummy. When dyslexics are in these triggering situations, their process to behaviour and physical reactions is very quick, without them even realising that they've had a thought and an emotion with it. Asking a dyslexic to count to 10 or slow down can be challenging because first they need to know the whole picture of what is going on when they have a reaction. And it's a very ingrained pattern that they have for managing their dyslexia that's come with them from childhood. If we look at the left of the screen, this is really explaining what it feels like when there is a triggering situation for a dyslexic. It's very automatic. So it goes from the situation to the behaviour very quickly. The technique that seems to work best for dyslexics is doing it backwards, by using their behaviours or physical reactions as indicators that their brain has felt unsafe in that certain situation. This actually having to think about what is causing their brain to go offline means they put their brain back into their prefrontal cortex, so they're thinking about it, which is where we want the brain to go. So here we'd look at if we do the process backwards. So dyslexics need to think about what their behaviour reaction indicators are. So like I mentioned, it could be avoiding tasks at work, worried about going to work. It could be any type of masking behaviour that covers their struggles, such as using humour, being very helpful, pretending to understand, or getting angry. Physical reactions can also be good indicators, and these can include things like a face flushing red, the body feels hot, the mind goes blank, they might get sweaty palms, might have butterflies in the tummy. Once dyslexics recognise these indicators and that they're in a situation that's making their brain feel uncomfortable or unsafe, they can then start to change how they react in future situations. So you use the behavior indicator or the physical reaction indicator. It makes the dyslexic realize, wow, that situation made my brain go offline here. Oh, there's something happening here that makes me feel unsafe. What was the situation that made me feel unsafe? The other technique to get the brain back online is, and moving back into the prefrontal cortex, is actually breath work, which is tummy breathing. This calms the amygdala so that the prefrontal cortex can come back online. It needs to be deep breathing. It's when you breathe in, your tummy is going out. To start off with, if you were sitting here thinking, I need to get my brain back online, you may have 3 deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth before returning to nostril breathing only. Some find it helpful to follow a pattern, such as breathing in for 4, hold for 2, breathe out for 6, hold for 2, and repeat. Others may find it helpful to scan the body and breathe in to the different parts that feel tense. So if you've got butterflies in your tummy, you're breathing into your tummy to make those butterflies feel better. So just to recap, if the brain goes offline, we want to start to look at what are those triggers that are making the brain go offline and using breath work to get it back online. So now we have that awareness around what is the situations that make the dyslexic brain feel unsafe and knowing what breath work is. Now we're going to look at how do we reduce the brain going offline in the first place. So you want to look at the techniques of using the noticing, but also the prepping. So the information the dyslexic has gathered from when their brain was going offline, they can start to see the pattern of the situations that their brain feels unsafe or uncomfortable. So once they know that, okay, I'm going to go into this situation of having to read aloud in front of people at a meeting, that is a situation that normally makes my brain go offline. So you've got that awareness before it even happens. Other examples, it could be when the dyslexic has to meet with certain people. So it's certain people that are making their brain go offline. It could be that if they have to speak when there's more than 3 people. And it may happen at certain times of the week, such as the end of the week compared to the start of the week, when perhaps their brain is more tired. Other things that they may notice is that it's a certain tone of voice in situations that make their brain go offline. It could be where they have to go somewhere and they haven't been there before, so they don't know what's expected, and that can make their brain go offline. Or just having to answer questions in a meeting when they don't know if they've got the info to give the answer that's required. So all these situations, they will notice that this makes their brain go offline, and before they go into that situation again, they can put in place a plan. So that's the pre-planning. So you notice the patterns and then you do the pre-planning. So for example, if you're going to have to read aloud in front of some people, you may do some tummy breathing just before you're about to do that. You may gather some information about a topic before you have to answer some questions so that you feel like you've got something to fall back on. It could be that if someone asks you a question, you might develop a standard reply such as, give me more time to think before I provide an answer, then I can give you the best answer. So it's just coming up with some go-to statements that you may use. Doing regular breath work helps to regulate the brain so that when the dyslexic goes into stressful situations, it means their brain is less ramped up, is close to going offline as it could be. Another type of exercise is to activate the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve helps to keep the brain relaxed. There are many exercises online around vagus nerve exercises, and examples of what can help are meditation, exercise, laughing, massage, and cold water splashes on the face.